Tutorial on how the account section works. This is going to go more in depth than the overview section on what the account section includes. So we click on accounts to begin, and we're going to come up with a page of recent accounts. These are just the accounts that I have clicked on most recently. If I want to see all of the accounts that are in our Salesforce, we can just choose all accounts and click go. But for now, I'm going to use this example account. Now, as mentioned before, if we were to create a new account, there are multiple account types. And you choose the account type based on the organization we're working with. If they are like an ecosystem peer partner versus a university versus an entrepreneur business. Now, in this example, I am including, we're going to go over an entrepreneur business account record type because it is by far the most complicated and also the most prevalent in our Salesforce. But if you're able to understand the entrepreneur business account record type, you can definitely understand the rest of them. They usually are a lot more simplistic. So let's get right into it. We're not going to go into the specific detail of every field. I'm going to explain the most key fields, and the rest is kind of self-explanatory, more or less. Alright, so let's begin. The account name is example. Alright, that's just the account business's name. And the priority account. Now this priority account button is pretty simple. It's meant for us to filter through which accounts we have more frequent contact with or that are responsive. And we use this in such a manner that when it comes to collection time, we try to contact the priority accounts first because they tend to give us better results, more responses, essentially. Alright, this is simply just for record keeping, and now we go to status with Alterna. Essentially, this is a way for us to see what the business's current status with us is currently. So we have potential, diagnosed, in cultivation, standby, cultivation completed, and abandoned cultivation. They're pretty straightforward. Okay, potential is if they're just an idea. They're a business that we could work with, but we haven't talked about anything formally. Diagnose is when we've had a meeting with them. They've expressed interest in working with Alterna, and we have an idea of what their business model is and how we could help them. In cultivation, straightforward. We began cultivation with them. They're currently in the process of our cultivation. Standby, if at any point during the cultivation process they have a pause, we're going to put them into standby. The one thing that differentiates standby from abandoned cultivation is that standby means that they have the intention of finishing the cultivation eventually. Cultivation completed is just after they have went through cultivation, they've completed it, they've finished the process, they automatically go into here. Now, they can be in, once you say cultivation completed, it means we've finished the consultation part of our model with them. We still may be following up with them to see how their business is doing, but we still consider them in cultivation completed. Abandoned cultivation, if at any point during the process they decide that Alterna isn't for them, put them in abandoned cultivation. Follow-up, this is just means if it's checked, we are going to follow up with this business when it comes collection time for any information we might want to collect from them, like revenue or employee numbers. And if it's not checked, we won't follow up. Business status, this is simply the current status of the business. There's two operatings, which could be confusing. The only difference is SAT and non-SAT, and non-SAT means that they don't have a formal legal entity. SAT means that they do have a legal entity recognized by the government of Guatemala. Out of business, in idea stage, unknown, all pretty straightforward. Alterna leader contact, this is who I contact if I have a question about the account, and this person's within Alterna organization. Idea when it started with Alterna, okay, this is if the idea for this business was created during an alternate cultivation. So this really applies to early stage businesses that began with us during early stage cultivation. So because they had the idea during the cultivation, if this is checked. Ready to receive investment or had for sale, and data for sale, self-explanatory. The industry, you have a myriad of industries to choose from. This is if they're predominantly based in an urban or rural location. Impact area, you have a myriad of options as well, and it just is a way for us to say, okay, they're trying to impact, for example, in this case, education. But they could be trying to impact many different things. This is just a way for us to categorize that and get it at a glance. This is just organizational Salesforce data, including, this is probably what's most important to you, the record type. This information is all over the cultivation phase. So really quickly, the last participating current phase is we have phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3, which also stand for phase 1, early stage, phase 2, advanced stage, and phase 3, resource activation stage. So here we can see that the most recent stage that's been entered is phase 2 or advanced stage. And they've had one cycle of cultivation, which was that advanced stage cultivation, and the highest level they've reached with us is advanced stage status, and then the identification number of that document. And then their financial reporting level ready for, pretty simple, as if it depends on how advanced their finances are. If they're just able to make management decisions, whether they're able to apply for grants is the next level, and then whether they're able to present to investors is the last level. And Tyler is really the person to turn to if you have a question about how we decide each level. The next sections are straightforward, and so we're just going to fly through them. We have revenues. There's two areas. They should usually be in alignment. The only reason they wouldn't be is if this area gets automatically updated when we enter a revenue, this area doesn't. Events they participated in, so here in this example one, we say that the business has participated in Thrive 2016, which might have been the last time we had contact with them. We have company description section next. This just goes over basic descriptions of the businesses, their impact, contact, which other accounts or entrepreneurs this business has created a connection with. And this could be formalized through Alterna, in which there's a button to say, okay, this is a formalized connection through Alterna, or to say that we heard about the connection, we could enter it in here. They've applied in 2015, 2016, and then later want to apply again in 2017, we can have 3 separate records displayed. Goals, this just allows us to enter in goals for the business and to check whether or not they have accomplished those goals. And then, kind of like how I mentioned up above, that the information gets updated automatically, is what I said. That information has to be entered here in the revenue section, or the investments receiver section, or the cost section. Lastly, we have the project section. This is where we can create a project to enter in hours that we have invested in this specific business.